Brad Morrison had worked at Pinnacle Marketing Solutions for 3 years, 2 months, and 17 days. Not that anyone had noticed. He could have carved those numbers into his forehead and his coworkers would have still asked, "Wait, are you new here?" Whenever they passed his desk. His cubicle was strategically positioned in what the office called the void, that weird space between the bathroom and the supply closet where fluorescent lights went to flicker their last dying breaths. It was the corporate equivalent of being shoved in a locker, except he had to pay for his own lunch. Morning, Brad would say cheerfully to Jessica from accounting. She'd walk right past him while texting, "Hey there." He'd try with Derek from sales. Derek would literally look through him as if Brad had achieved some form of involuntary corporate camouflage. Even the office plants got more attention than Brad. Someone watered those religiously. Brad was pretty sure he could wilt and die at his desk, and people would just work around his corpse, maybe use him as a coat rack. The whole situation came to a head on a particularly soul-crushing Tuesday. Brad had prepared an entire presentation on Q3 marketing strategies, 30 slides of pure genius, complete with animations and a pie chart that actually made sense. He practiced in front of his bathroom mirror for a week. When he walked into the conference room, his manager, Patricia, glanced up from her phone with the expression of someone who just noticed a moderately interesting stain on the carpet. "Who are you?" "Brad Morrison, marketing associate." "I've worked here for 3 years." "Huh." She looked him up and down like he was a vaguely familiar piece of furniture. "Well, we're waiting for someone to present the Q3 strategy, so if you could just... That's me, I'm presenting." Brad held up his USB drive like it was Excalibur. Patricia squinted at her agenda. "It just says someone from marketing. Are you sure that's you?" Before Brad could respond with what would have been an impressively sarcastic retort, his phone buzzed. A text from his college roommate, Dave, who'd gotten really into alternative wellness after a gap year in Thailand. "Dude, I'm outside your office. Got that good luck charm I promised. Changes everything. Trust me, bro." Brad excused himself, leaving Patricia to presumably forget he existed within the next 4 seconds. He found Dave in the lobby, looking exactly like someone who would use the phrase, "Trust me, bro," unironically man bun, hemp necklace, cargo shorts, despite it being October. "Bradley, my man." Dave pulled him into a hug that smelled like patchouli and broken dreams. "Check this out." He shoved a small crystalline pendant into Brad's hand. It was tacky as hell, glowing with an obnoxious pink shimmer that probably violated several taste regulations. "Dave, I really don't have time for. It's a transformation crystal. This monk in Phuket said it reveals your true inner self, the version of you that the universe wants you to be. I've been meditating with mine for 6 months." Brad looked at Dave's man bun. "And has it transformed you?" "Not physically, but spiritually, Brad. Spiritually." Dave pressed the crystal into Brad's palm. "Just keep it on you. When the time is right, bam. Universe does its thing. Great. Fantastic." Universe's thing. Brad pocketed the crystal just to make Dave leave. "I have a presentation to bomb now." "You won't bomb it, buddy. Manifest that success." Brad trudged back to the conference room, where Patricia was now discussing his presentation with someone else, because of course she was. Turned out, someone from marketing had been auto-corrected from his name, and now Jennifer from the other team was taking credit for his slides. "These are actually my..." Brad started. Patricia waved him off. Adults are talking. Something in Brad's chest tightened. Was it anger? Frustration? Heartburn from the sketchy breakfast burrito he'd grabbed? Hard to say. But the crystal in his pocket suddenly felt warm, then hot, then holy crap, is that burning through my pants hot? He stumbled out of the conference room, yanking the crystal from his pocket. It was glowing now, pulsing with pink light like a tiny disco ball of chaos. Brad tried to drop it, but the stupid thing had apparently fused to his hand. "Oh, come on," he yelled, shaking his arm. The crystal only glowed brighter. Then everything went tingly. It started in his fingers, a weird pins and needles sensation that raced up his arms. His skin felt like it was shrinking and expanding at the same time, which should have been physically impossible, but apparently the universe didn't care about Brad S' opinions on physics. His chest felt weird, really weird, like someone was inflating 2 balloons under his shirt. Brad looked down in horror as his formerly flat, okay, slightly pudgy chest began to swell outward, his boring blue button-up straining against the sudden curves. Nope, not happening. Brad backed into the men's room and locked himself in a stall. His voice came out higher, more melodic. He cleared his throat and tried again. Testing. He sounded like someone had auto-tuned his vocal cords into a female voice actress's range. His pants were getting loose around the waist, but uncomfortably tight around the hips. His shoes felt weird. His hair was tickling his shoulders, which was strange because he'd gotten it cut short last week. Brad grabbed a handful and pulled it forward. Golden blonde locks cascaded past her face. Dave, Brad, or was it still Brad? Squeaked, "I'm going to murder you." The transformation wasn't done. His face felt like someone was photoshopping it in real time. Softer jawline, sharper cheekbones, lips fuller. Eyelashes longer. He caught his reflection in the toilet water, desperate times, and saw a complete stranger, a gorgeous, anime protagonist level gorgeous blonde woman with impossible proportions and legs that went on for approximately 17 miles. His work clothes had transformed too because apparently the universe was thorough. His button-up was now a crisp white blouse that fit like it had been tailored by angels. His pants had become a sleek pencil skirt. His boring loafers were now heels that he somehow knew how to walk in, which was perhaps the most disturbing part of this whole situation. Someone knocked on the stall door. "You okay in there?" Brad opened his mouth to respond, then realized he had no idea what to say. "I'm fine. Just ... Having a day. Girl, aren't we all?" The voice responded sympathetically. Brad, no. She needed a new name now, didn't she? Stepped out of the stall on shaky legs. The woman at the sink, Rachel from HR, looked over and did a double take. "Oh, I didn't know we had someone new starting today." Rachel beamed, suddenly friendly in a way she'd never been with Brad. "I'm Rachel. Welcome to Pinnacle. Emma ... double think, Brad think, ... Bridget, close enough to his real name that he might actually remember it." "Bridget, that's such a cute name." Rachel grabbed her hand and pulled her toward the door. "Come on, let me introduce you to everyone. We should have gotten a notification about a new hire, but you know how IT is." Bridget let herself be dragged along, mainly because walking in heels required more concentration than she expected, and it was easier to just go with the momentum. They burst into the main office area, and suddenly the world made sense in the most infuriating way possible. "Everyone," Rachel announced, clapping her hands, "we have a new team member. This is Bridget." Derek from sales literally sprinted over. The same Derek who'd looked through Brad like he was a pane of glass 5 minutes ago. "Bridget, wow, welcome to Pinnacle." He thrust out his hand for a shake, grinning like he'd just won the lottery. "Derek Henderson, Senior Sales Associate. If you need anything, and I mean anything, my desk is right over there." "I know where your desk is," Bridget muttered, then caught herself. "I mean, I can see it from here. Thanks." Jessica from accounting materialized like a friendly ghost. "Oh my God, hi, I'm Jessica. We should totally do lunch. Do you like sushi? I know this amazing place. It's so great to have another girl in the office." Bridget stared. Jessica, the same Jessica who'd walked past Brad every single morning without so much as a head nod. Don't we doubt that, don't you already have other women in the office? Well, yeah, but like new friend energy, you know? Jessica squeezed her arm. I can already tell we're going to be besties. This was insane. This was absolutely cosmically insane. Bridget's brain was doing somersaults trying to process the sudden shift from office ghost to office celebrity. She'd gone from corporate camouflage to center of attention in the span of one mysterious crystal-induced transformation. Tom from IT shuffled over, adjusting his glasses. Hi, I'm Tom. If you need help setting up your computer or anything, ... double quotes. I've been using computers since I was 6, Bridget said, then realized how defensive that sounded. But thank you, that's really nice. Patricia, her manager, swept in with the energy of someone who'd suddenly remembered how to acknowledge human existence. Bridget, there you are. Rachel said we had a new hire. I don't have you on my schedule, but that's fine. We can sort out the paperwork later. Have you been assigned a workspace? Actually, I think there might be some confusion. No confusion at all. We're thrilled to have you. Patricia beamed, and it was possibly the first time Bridget had seen the woman smile with actual facial muscles instead of just baring her teeth. Tell me, what's your background? What brings you to Pinnacle? Bridget's mind raced. She couldn't exactly say, I've worked here for 3 years, and you never noticed me until I became a hot blonde. That would require explanations she didn't have. I'm experienced in marketing, Q3 strategies, customer engagement, brand positioning, ... double quotes. Fantastic. We actually need someone to present our Q3 strategy today. Jennifer was about to do it, but between you and me, Patricia leaned in conspiratorially. She's not our strongest presenter. Would you mind taking a crack at it? Would she mind? Bridget had literally prepared that presentation. Those were her slides. Her data, her actually good pie chart. I'd be happy to, Bridget said, trying to keep the vindication out of her voice. Patricia squeezed her shoulder. Wonderful. Conference room in 15 minutes. Oh, and Bridget, love the outfit. Very professional, but still chic. You'll fit right in here. As Patricia walked away, Bridget stood there in what used to be the void, except now it didn't feel like a void at all. People were looking at her, smiling at her. Derek was still hovering nearby like a particularly eager golden retriever. So, Bridget, Derek said, leaning against a cubicle wall in what he probably thought was a cool pose. What do you like to do for fun? Apparently experience existential crises in bathroom stalls, Bridget replied. Derek laughed like that was the funniest thing he'd ever heard. You're hilarious. Hey, a bunch of us usually grab drinks after work on Fridays. You should come. I mean, if you want, no pressure. But you should definitely come. This was the same man who Dee once walked into Brad during a fire drill and said, "Excuse me," to the doorframe instead. Bridget felt a weird mixture of satisfaction and rage bubbling in her chest. I'll think about it, she said, then made her way back to her Brad's cubicle. It looked exactly the same as it had this morning, slightly dusty, decorated with a motivational poster nobody found motivating, and housing a coffee mug that proclaimed, "World's okayest employee." She sat down in her chair, which was now at a slightly wrong height for her new body proportions, and pulled up the Q3 presentation on her computer. The same presentation she'd been trying to give all morning. The same data, the same slides. Nothing had changed except everything had changed. Her phone buzzed. Dave again. How's the crystal working, bro? Bridget typed back, I'm going to feed you to a bear. That's the spirit. Embrace the transformation. There was a soft knock on her cubicle wall. Bridget looked up to see Jennifer, the woman who'd been about to steal her presentation, looking nervous. Hey, Bridget? I just wanted to say, Jennifer bit her lip. I'm really glad you're taking over that presentation. I was totally going to bomb it. The truth is, I found those slides in the shared drive and assumed they were like generic templates or something. I didn't realize someone had actually put real work into them. Someone did, Bridget said carefully. A lot of work, actually. Well, whoever made them is really talented. Like, that pie chart actually makes sense. Do you know how rare that is? Jennifer laughed. Anyway, good luck in there. Patricia can be tough, but I think you'll do great. After Jennifer left, Bridget stared at her reflection in her darkened computer monitor. Blonde hair, feminine face, curves that defied several laws of physics. She looked like someone had anime filtered a real person. But the weirdest part, she kind of liked it. Not the transformation itself that was still horrifying and possibly permanent and definitely Dave's fault. But the sudden visibility, the acknowledgement, the fact that people were finally paying attention to her work, even if they thought it belonged to someone else. Bridget stood up, smoothed on her skirt, and grabbed the USB drive with her presentation. If the universe wanted her to be a blonde bombshell office lady, fine. She'd be the best damn blonde bombshell office lady this company had ever seen. As she walked toward the conference room, people parted like the Red Sea. Good luck, someone called. Knock 'em dead, said someone else. Derek gave her a thumbs up from his desk. Brad Morrison had been invisible for 3 years, but Bridget was about to give the presentation of her life. She just had to figure out how to change back before someone asked for her non-existent employee ID. The conference room fell silent when Bridget walked in. Not the awkward silence that had greeted Brad that morning, but the good kind, oh, thank God someone competent is here. Silence mixed with a generous helping of, wow, she's pretty silence. Patricia gestured to the front of the room. Everyone, this is Bridget Morrison, our new marketing specialist. She'll be presenting the Q3 strategy. Actually, Bridget said, plugging in her USB drive, I've been working on marketing strategies for quite a while. Some of you might recognize the data. She looked pointedly at Jennifer, who had the grace to look sheepish. The presentation went perfectly. Every single point Brad had prepared, every carefully researched statistic, every painstakingly designed slide, all of it landed exactly as he'd hoped it would. Except now people were actually listening. They were nodding. Taking notes, Patricia was smiling. This is incredible work, Patricia said when Bridget finished. The market segmentation analysis alone is worth its weight in gold. Where did you develop these insights? 3 years of working in marketing, Bridget said truthfully. Observing consumer behavior, tracking trends, analyzing competitor strategies. You know, the usual. Well, we're lucky to have you. Patricia started clapping and the rest of the room joined in. Actual applause for Brad's work, presented by Bridget's face. Derek raised his hand. I have a question. Yes? Bridget braced herself. Are you single? Patricia threw a pen at him. Derek. Inappropriate. The answer is none of your business, Bridget said. Any actual questions about the presentation? Tom raised his hand. Yeah, actually. The customer retention metrics, did you factor in seasonal fluctuations? Finally, a real question. Bridget dove into the explanation, and for a few minutes, she forgot about the whole transformation thing. This was what she'd wanted all along. People engaging with her work, taking her seriously, treating her ideas like they mattered. After the meeting, Bridget was intercepted by approximately 7 different people wanting to chat or grab coffee or pick her brain about marketing strategies. By the time she made it back to her desk, it was lunchtime and Jessica was already there with sushi. I know you didn't technically say yes to lunch, but I took the liberty, Jessica announced, setting down 2 bento boxes. California rolls, right? I'm more of a spicy tuna person, Bridget said, but she sat down anyway. Free food was free food. So Jessica said, what's your story? Where did you work before this? Oh, around. different places. All kind of blends together. I totally get that. I've been here for 2 years, and sometimes I feel like I've been here forever, you know? Jessica laughed. Although I have to say, today has been way more exciting than usual. New person, amazing presentation, Derek making a fool of himself. It's like Christmas came early. Bridget chewed her sushi thoughtfully. Can I ask you something? Do you remember someone named Brad Morrison? Jessica's face scrunched up in thought. Brad ... Morrison? That sounds familiar. Maybe? I don't know. I'm terrible with names. Why? No reason. Just ... Heard the name somewhere. Bridget's heart sank a little. 3 years. 3 years of morning greetings, of sharing an office space, of existing in the same building. And Jessica couldn't even remember if Brad was a real person. Her phone buzzed. Another text from Dave. Dude, the transformation is temporary. Lasts like 24 hours. You're welcome. 24 hours. Bridget had 24 hours as a visible, acknowledged, respected member of this office before she turned back into the invisible Brad Morrison. The thought should have been comforting, but normal meant being ignored. Normal meant people walking through her like she was made of air. Earth to Bridget? Jessica waved her hand. You okay? You zoned out there. Yeah, sorry. Just thinking. The rest of the afternoon passed in a blur of introductions and compliments. People kept stopping by her cubicle. Patricia invited her to a senior strategy meeting next week. Derek asked her opinion on a sales pitch. Even the cleaning staff smiled at her, which was more acknowledgement than Brad had gotten in 3 years combined. It was everything Brad had ever wanted. And it was all because of a face, a body, a superficial transformation that would disappear in 24 hours, like some kind of corporate Cinderella story. Around 4 o'clock, Bridget locked herself in a bathroom stall again and pulled out the crystal. It was still faintly glowing, but dimmer now, like a phone battery running low. Okay, she whispered to the stupid magical rock. What's the lesson here? That I need to be a hot blonde to be taken seriously. The crystal didn't respond because it was a rock, and rocks are notoriously bad at philosophical discussions. Bridget's phone rang. Unknown number. Bradley, my dude. Dave's voice boomed through the speaker. How's the transformation treating you? Life-changing, right? Dave, I'm going to be very calm when I say this. What the hell? I know. Should have warned you about the side effects. But isn't it amazing? You get to see how people treat you when you're presenting as your best self. My best self is apparently a blonde woman with impossible proportions. No, man, you're missing the point. Your best self is confident. The physical transformation is just a tool to help you access that confidence. You walked into that presentation and OW&ED it. Same presentation as before, right? Same content? But this time you delivered it with the energy of someone who knows they deserve to be heard. Bridget paused. He kind of had a point, much as she hated to admit it. The crystal reveals your true inner self, Dave continued. Not physically, but energetically. You're seeing what happens when you show up fully as yourself, without all the self-doubt and invisibility you've been carrying around. That's very poetic, Dave, but I'm still going to murder you. Fair enough. Hey, enjoy the rest of your transformation. And remember, you're not Bridget or Brad, you're you. The package is just temporary. He hung up before Bridget could respond. She emerged from the bathroom to find Derek waiting nearby. Oh, Bridget. Hey. Funny running into you here. Derek, you're standing outside the women's bathroom. Am I? Didn't even notice. Anyway, I was thinking, since you're new and everything, maybe I could show you around the neighborhood. Derek, Bridget interrupted gently. I appreciate the offer, but I'm not interested. His face fell like a sad puppy. Oh, okay, that's cool. But if you're genuinely interested in being friends, actual friends, not I want to date you friends, I'd be happy to grab coffee sometime. As colleagues, Derek brightened. Yeah, that would be cool. Colleagues, friends, I can do that. As he walked away, Bridget felt something shift inside her. Old Brad would have been thrilled by Derek's attention, would have said yes immediately, just to have someone acknowledge his existence. But new Bridget knew she deserved more than scraps of attention from people who ignored her for years. The crystal was almost done glowing now. Maybe another hour before the transformation wore off. Bridget made her way back to her cubicle one last time as a visible person and sat down at her desk. She pulled up a new document and started typing. To Patricia, subject, Brad Morrison, employee review request. Dear Patricia, I wanted to bring to your attention an employee who has been with the company for over 3 years. Brad Morrison. After reviewing the Q3 presentation materials, I discovered that the original research, data analysis, and strategic recommendations were developed by him over the past several months. Bridget smiled as she typed, detailing every contribution Brad had made, every overlooked achievement, every invisible victory. If she was going back to being ignored tomorrow, she was at least going to make sure her work was on record. Just as she hit send, the crystal gave one final pulse and went dark. The tingling started again,